It is 6:30 PM on June 23, 2025. I'd like to call this regular meeting of the Old Saybrook Police Commission to order. Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Commissioners present, Kaye, Van Dossel, Christ, Ciliano, Nora Francesco, and Wilcox. Commissioner Shippey will be joining us around 7 o'clock. Before we get to the current agenda, under Robert's rules, if there is to be a motion to amend the agenda, it should come at the commencement of the meeting. I understand from our secretary that such a motion might be in order.
I would ask that I would move that we add June 18th, 2025 special meeting to the agenda, those minutes for approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Thank you. All right, comments from the public. Do we have any comment in the live audience? How about in the virtual audience? Anyone raise your hand, please? Any hands raised? No hands raised. Okay, on to correspondence. I have none other than what's been circulated. Does anyone else have any?
No, thank you.
Okay. All right, let's turn to item 4. First of all, the meeting minutes for our April regular meeting. This was deferred because of a slight snafu. I invite a motion to approve them as submitted.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion, any corrections, changes? All in favor? Aye. Unanimous. May 19th regular meeting minutes. I invite a motion to approve as submitted.
So moved. Second.
Second, Commissioner Crest. Any discussion, corrections, changes? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. And the June
18th,
special meeting.
2025, yeah, special meeting.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion, questions, changes?
Nothing.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Unanimous.
Thank you, Jen.
Thank you.
Good work.
Thank you. All right, Acting Chief Walsh, executive reports.
Yes,
The
thank you.
floor is yours.
Thank you. So being the month of June and the fiscal year ending in a week, we don't provide the budget numbers because it's so close to the end of the year, but we still are on track to come in the positive for the fiscal year. We don't see any surprises coming up in the next week, so we anticipate being where we need to be.
Do you have any sense of how much in the black we're going to end up?
It changes week to week, so we thought it was one number and then the payroll came in and it changed, so we didn't actually run that spreadsheet today, but you know, it's gonna be so not as much as in years past, I don't believe.
Are there any larger expenditures anticipated?
So I mentioned the Marine Patrol camera, so that's coming in, so that would be invoiced hopefully before the end of this year. There's budget there. And we are due to order tires, so we're just gonna look right at the end of the month and either do that on this budget or at the start of the new year. But otherwise, just to celebrate Saybrook, expense for personnel, will be in next payroll. So that's.
All right, so that does come out of our
It
budget.
still does, yeah.
So the cameras celebrate Saybrook and the tires are all coming out of this budget, or the tires?
We're gonna make that decision right as the year closes out to see. what we
Okay,
have.
to see where you are financially.
Yeah.
Perfect, thank you.
For the off-budget accounts, you'll see the police admin account shows the continuous influx of pistol permit applications. It's six
Lots
or
of
eight,
pistol permits.
lots of pistol permits, 6 or 8 a month. Those obviously take time to process, you know, pretty extensive background investigations. So it just shows one of the many things that officers are doing. Ms. Scally, you mentioned the DARE fund, so we did get a donation from the
I saw
police
that.
union this year. So I was at the DARE graduation, presented that from the police union.
Okay, great.
So can I just ask really
Yeah.
quick, Deborah, on that? For some reason, and I could be wrong, I totally could be wrong. I feel like the DARE fund was a lot lower and all of a sudden it's at 6,000. I think last time we talked about it was at like 2,700, but I could be wrong. I really could be wrong.
Yeah, I think all the transactions are there.
I think
Okay.
you're thinking the Explorer Fund. There's
Was
not
I? Okay.
The Explorer Fund,
Okay,
there's not.
I mean, that's fine. I think I have my backdated, and I'm not saying anything's wrong, but I do.
This raises a question.
Yeah.
The police administration fund has a balance of like $60,000, I think. Do we charge that for the cost of the background checks?
So some of that money is transferred, from that fund to just the general salary fund at the end of the year.
Like extra person, yeah. it
Personnel
gets-
fund to account for that, and then some of it goes to the state for the actual processing of the fingerprints. For the background check.
But this has been steadily accumulating over time.
We've had quite a few, special permits increase, so with the, political atmosphere, if you go with the different presidents over the cycles and whether the Second Amendment was changing or going away, really increased.
People were buying just in case.
Exactly right.
You're talking about the police admin account?
Yeah.
It's 36,000.
Yeah, the emergency dispatch is the 66.
Oh, okay. It's still
So,
very hefty
okay.
balance. Yeah.
But the emergency dispatch, there was just a deposit of $7,000. What did that come from?
So that's like the state
That's the state
Yeah, state.
reimbursement.
reimbursement.
Okay. I have that.
We get that every 3 months.
Okay,
We
thank
submit
you.
forms to the state, we have to show them what we're spending the money on. The chief signs off on it and they.
And you can
deposit
see
the
it's
money.
pretty routinely
Yeah.
in that fund. It's
In that
in that-
amount.
in that amount.
Yeah.
So it's the same amount, that's what you guys are saying, the same amount every
Yeah.
6 months.
I have a question. We bring this up every now and again for the various AT&T payments. Can you just reconfirm that the AT&T cell phone, is that separate from the town hall cell phones that are distributed? Or is it part of?
Is that the emergency dispatch?
Yeah,
I can confirm that for you, but I know
Okay.
we have our own, separate accounts. for
separate
each
account.
department line. We have our own line item for cellular communications in our budget. Yeah.
Okay, I was just wondering, if we, at some point, ever would consider maybe, putting a bid out for other cell phone vendors to, take a look at what you have now, what your expenses are, and see how comparable they could be,
Yeah,
or,
we had that, Jen and I had that conversation, so I'm obviously seeing all the different bills and there are, Frontier bills, there's
Yeah.
Comcast bills, so we've asked Mike Gardner, who's still on board and getting ready to depart, to break down what all the different accounts are, because some of them are based on, the car modems. Some might be a backup for a Wi-Fi system that's, in, Records Tower, so there's reasons for all of them.
okay,
We actually found a DirecTV account that hadn't been shut down, that should have been, so we were able to
Oh,
get that
that's
shut
good.
down to save that.
thank you.
Because we're both still learning this a little bit as well, so we wanted him to break down what all these different
All right.
accounts are. We did just renew our AT&T contract, and we went to the state plan, so it's gonna save us some money as well. So they brought that forward to us to say we could
But-
reduce our data a little bit.
Sorry,
Thank
you.
351 a month is not bad for, is that including the cell phones and the cars?
No, that's not.
Okay, so what are the cars and the cell phones?
I can get that for you, I don't have that.
Oh,
in front of me
that's
today.
fine. Don't worry. Got it. Don't worry.
I just saw the, AT&T, there was a lot of redundant charges in that.
Well, and sometimes I don't think they pay it, like, so there are some times where you pay it twice a month, and I feel like, cause when I looked back, you missed a month or something happened.
Yeah,
Which
sometimes-
is fine, which is,
It
Not
depends what
judging.
comes in,
Yeah.
the department when we pay it, but
Got it.
again, there's a number of lines in the building that are.
Well, I appreciate you checking into it
yeah, thank you.
and noticing that.
Yeah. Also, it still says. We're gonna change that?
We've been working on it.
Okay.
There's a lot of forms out there.
Just a logo with the name. Okay,
All right. Any other questions on the off budget accounts?
I have one.
Yeah.
On the police uniform, it says deposit donation of $100. Do we know who the donation comes from, or is that just a random $100 donation?
So we'll get checks, so if somebody, I think in this case, it was somebody had sent their check in for the golf cart, and they added $100 to it,
Oh,
and
that's nice.
the, donation.
Yeah, you see
Was it-
those things.
Was it specified to the uniform account?
A lot of times when people come in, we specifically will tell them what the off budget accounts for, and then they pick. So that's why sometimes you see it to like the canine fund or stuff like that. But yes, most of the time, yeah.
Because we did establish that Old Saybrook Police Fund
Yes.
as a catch-all for anything that
Anything,
wasn't
yep,
specified.
yeah.
And I wondered,
I think this one said PD uniforms and awards, cause that's the one we've always told people in the past. But
I'm
there-
sorry,
I think this one did say PD uniforms and awards, cause that's what we've always told people in the past, when they were just always like, well, what do we send it to? We were like, well, this, we bought the Class A uniforms out of that last time and stuff like that.
As you can see, the uniforms are very expensive, so it's
Yeah.
nice to have that support.
So Chubb, the Board of Ed, what they do is if there's a donation 500, I think 500 and above, the superintendent has to announce at a meeting where it's from, where it's going. So maybe, and it's in their bylaws, so maybe that's something that,
we should look at.
yes,
Yeah.
right?
Some people like to donate anonymous.
Mm.
No, and you don't have to say the name, but even we got like an anonymous $1,000 donation for the canine, but like at least we know.
Is there a thank you card that gets sent out or any type of acknowledgement to them, like a postcard or?
So I used to do it when I was back the union president, some of the larger donations, we would certainly acknowledge that.
Okay,
So as a department, we haven't done it that I'm aware of.
I think that would be a nice gesture to acknowledge their donation, even if it's a postcard
Yeah.
or a quick handwritten note. I think that would go a long
Yeah,
way
I agree.
and ensure, future funding as
Sure.
well. So that would be nice. On the uniforms, changes.
So they're very slow coming in, so my friend in the back room asked me, how come it still says lieutenant there? It just takes a while to get stuff
Okay.
in, so.
Is there any way, that maybe you could place a call? I just feel like we're in July now.
Jackie, it took me 35 days to get 3,500 recyclable cups for the Main Street Fair, so I cannot imagine what a uniform.
I know, but I
Okay.
just, I don't want him to not have,
I know.
he needs, so that was where I'm going with
Yeah,
it, not so much the other side of it. It's-
Right.
And I can do it on the black uniform as well, if that would satisfy you,
No, I'm just more concerned about yourself.
So I think, yesterday was a nice event and many people recognized, the
Yeah.
role I had.
I was kind of hoping that change would come into effect prior to, because that's a very public event and,
Might have been a little cooler too.
yeah. So, but thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
You deserve that and I want you to have that.
Okay, any other questions on budget accounts? All right, personnel matters?
Yep, yes, thank you. So unfortunately, we have a second officer now out on workman's comp. He has sounds like a pretty serious injury to his ankle or ligament off the bone, we found out today. So he's hoping to avoid surgery, but I don't know if that's gonna happen or not. So we're gonna wish him a speedy recovery and do everything we can to help him get him back.
Did you do that on duty or?
He did do that on duty, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Additionally, patrol officers Fox and Rankin are both off FTO, so they're standalone entities now, which is very nice. Definitely noticed the difference having homegrown patrolmen, so they
Yeah.
did not have to learn where the firehouse was or how to get to Saybrook Point or the shopping center, which consumes almost, a third of somebody's field training. So these guys were just able to focus on policing, which is really nice. I think it advanced them a lot quicker. They still have to do the 400 hours, but they didn't get lost going to calls. They didn't really practice just mapping skills. They knew where to go. So that was definitely a noticeable benefit having local youth. So it was Explorer Fox, Dispatcher Fox, now Patrolman Fox. The Explorer program's huge. So we had 3 Explorers out yesterday. I don't know if you saw them. So hopefully these are again, local kids that we can maybe somehow build up the ranks over time and get them interested in law enforcement. And then that's being controlled by Detective Simpson and his wife, Patrol Officer Rachel Simpson. So they're the 2 in charge of the Explorer program. So they're doing a great job with that. And I think we have a total of 6 or 7 now. Because not everybody could make it yesterday, but it's a nice
How old
program.
are you again?
It's like 14 to 21.
So Dylan can join.
Yeah,
Um,
had a fun note. I was an Explorer when I was in high school.
Were you?
Down in Maryland. So
That's what we're
yeah,
here.
I'm a supporter of the program, so.
Yeah, that's good.
the other gentleman that's out on workers' comp and is his projected due date.
So his next appointment's August, so he's gonna be out for a while, so, So he had back surgery, so he's recovering from that.
Okay.
Just waiting for some nerves to heal, which is first.
Alright.
We're
And
hoping
how
for
is
that.
the scheduling now with two officers?
So, the second one just happened last week, so it was very nice having Fox and Rankin on patrol, and we had, good numbers, and then, we lost one again as always, so, we were able to turn, the injured officer into, Officer Rankin, so we just filled him right in, so we didn't really feel the loss, but we didn't gain anything with the addition of the.
I was just concerned like with vacation, summertime. And
Yeah, it's been busy, the month of July, or month of June is always difficult, because, people try and save their vacations for the nice weather. And then in early May, we say, happy 90 days, so there's been a lot of vacation day
Yeah.
coverage. Literally, everybody in the department worked almost 16 hours yesterday, whether they were at the Celebrate Saybrook or came in and worked midnight shifts and then a road job today, just because other people couldn't work them, so it's been, it's a busy time. Hopefully, once we get into July, it'll settle down a little bit.
I'm just sitting here thinking, and this may be not workable at all. But if an officer is out with an ankle injury, could he ride along and, accompany the junior people?
No, so we don't actually have a light work duty policy. So right now, when they can't function at all as a police officer, they can't come in and do any duties as a police officer. Obviously, he couldn't physically perform, so he couldn't be out on the road at all for his safety. If we did look at a workplace injury or a light duty policy, we could maybe look into doing the pistol permit background, there's some fingerprinting, but, we need Attorney Bertram to help craft that language for that, and, he takes some time.
Speaking of ride-alongs,
Yeah.
have we crafted anything so that we could do ride-along if we want to?
So we have a ride-along policy.
So we're just gonna go back, okay.
It'd be up to you if you want to go, and, it could be a discussion we could put on and see if we have officers that, going to, take commissioners, it kind of gets a little sticky sometimes, if, they're up for promotions and things like that, it could be influence that you guys either way, but, if you're looking to go out, and I'll put it out there and try and get somebody.
Like, I don't care if there's a call and you need to drop me off on the side of the road, it's over. Just drop it off, like, where?
I think this is a discussion more for a future agenda item. I think there's a lot of different components to this that
Yeah,
need to be
risk
explored before we just jump in and say, we're gonna.
But ride-alongs for the public are a national thing, people do that,
Well,
why
that
is
may,
it?
that
We
may
do
be
that.
true.
Exactly, so why does it have to be a component? Like, why do we have to make it so
I
big?
think we have to talk about it as
I-
a group.
Okay, but I don't, I think that
Okay.
Well, you guys
it was,
have some oversight of the officers, so I think it's a little different that they're, especially who's in town from California for the day, seeing what they do with their college roommate.
oh, so it's
Yeah.
better if they see it, but it's
But
not.
it's different because we're definitely feeling,
It's different, right?
and that's what makes it different.
Correct.
But we can.
Fine, I will sign up as like Mary Baldwin for
Yeah, I
some.
don't think it's something that's prohibited, but it's just something I think to discuss a little
I
further.
think it's something we can
Okay.
just.
Okay,
that's all my questions.
all right. Any other questions on personnel matters? On to professional development?
Yes, Sergeant Mikowski and Detective Simpson went to, methods of instruction. So this makes them post-certified, instructors. With the,
Congratulations.
Yeah, very good for them. With Captain Perry leaving almost 2 years ago now, there's a pretty big void that, we need to fill. So he was a defensive tactics instructor, use of force instructor, a firearms instructor. We have one already, but you need two. So we need two firearms instructors, because one has to sign off the other. Master Sergeant DeMarco does a lot of those, and obviously, as you know, he's towards the end of his career as well. I know he wants a few more years left, but we need to start building that cadre up of our internal candidates. So Sergeant Mikowski and Detective Simpson, have the qualifications to start that, and then we'll find the trainer classes and the development classes for them to keep that in-house.
And is that done on site here, or is that done in Hartford? Where
So
is that?
the method of instructions, of course, is through the police academy. And then depending on which they do, it's defensive tactics or firearms, could be in different areas. But it's generally all through the state police or the police academy. Just sometimes they're hosted in West Hartford or Milford or Waterford. We're gonna look to host a few things in-house that are a little bit smaller.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
So one of the classes we do wanna, host internally is, A-RIDE, so it's an advanced, roadside impairment. It's basically the second step to the DUI enforcement class. It adds, detection of narcotics or controlled substances to the field sobriety test, basically. All police officers have to have that, I believe, within their first year. And we have a bunch of new officers, so we're gonna try and find an instructor to come right to Old Saybrook and do the 7 or 8 guys that we need to do, internally, and just get that done versus one guy going to West Hartford for 2 days and somebody else going to, New London for a couple of days, just try and do it all in one shot. But again, Patrolman Thomas and, Patrolman Simpson went to that. Officer Moriarty has started the 60-hour training to become an accident reconstructionist. It's 2 40-hour classes online and then a third 40-hour class, in person. And that's a pretty advanced training, so it's almost over a 2-year process. It takes a while to get that. That's for accident reconstruction, more serious car accidents, documenting the evidence, doing the complete investigation. We don't have too many areas in town where we actually reconstruct crashes, so you would reconstruct a crash when both operators weren't surviving, you couldn't speak to them, and then you'd actually do the mathematics and look at the roadway to figure out impact angles and departure angles to get the speed. But it's more for documenting evidence at this point. More about documenting the evidence, documenting the scene. I'm the current action reconstructionist, so we need to bring somebody else on board to
And who
help
were
with
the
that.
2 that were doing that?
Officer Moriarty is doing that. Yeah.
And he started that already?
I believe it starts July 7th.
Oh, in July.
It's a
Okay.
online, but it's classroom based, so you have to do certain things over a certain period of time before the next module comes up. Our 2 new dispatchers have started their EPD, EFD training, which is the emergency dispatching training. One of them already has the emergency medical dispatch training, so she's gonna move ahead a little quicker than Miss Bosch, who does not have that. That's it for professional.
Does that fill out the ranks on the dispatchers?
It does, so we have, Kayla jumps to full timer, so that brings us to 9 full timers, and then Jennifer Bosch is a part timer.
That's good.
Yeah, glad to have them here. And then in terms of activities, just, June's a very busy month, with school graduations, school events. You can see, I know from the activity report, some of the motor vehicle numbers are down a little bit, but we're very busy doing graduations and different things like that. And obviously to celebrate Saybrook, takes a lot of prep work. There's a lot of, you saw all those signs and cones, those, those are all put out by officers and built by officers. So, there's a lot going on behind the scenes this month.
And having been there myself, I want to applaud the department for another
Well,
beautiful job.
Yeah, I think I'll bring that up in my
Always.
comments as well.
Sorry, I do have a question about the school safety. I'm looking up an old one right now. On the school safety drill. So it says we've had, I'm assuming these are what? Just like they do drills.
Yep, so each school is required to do one school safety drill each month, essentially.
Okay, so we have
Fire
3 in
drill.
January, so you're saying all 3 schools did 1 in January, but then we have 2, which means only 2 schools did them.
So there are times when we do 2 together, like, go from middle school right to Goodwin and they.
But it should be 2
full-
separate, right?
It should be 2 separate, yeah.
Okay, but I also have for April, in our original report, it was only 1, and this was on April 28th. And here, you can just,
When you
And
say
now
original
it's-
report.
yeah, well, original, yeah, if you want this. Original, it was only 1, and now it's 2, that was on April 28th. I just wanna make sure that we're like not, that's one thing that we shouldn't be like,
Oh, we have not. So Chief Vera actually, as the emergency
Okay.
director, was involved in the drills throughout May and June. So for the fire drills, you're required to have somebody from the fire department there.
okay, but you're also doing St. John's too, no?
No, we haven't done St. John's for quite some time. They do their own.
That's their, so,
So they don't fall under the state law because it's a
Okay.
private.
well, either way, we should have 3 across the board, not 2, right?
I can assure you that they were done.
Okay. Well, okay.
So on the activity report, as I had mentioned earlier to Jen, the first page of it is for the month is missing. I mean, we'll just pick it up next month and see, but
There's a first page missing from this.
yes, see, this is the first page for the annual.
Okay.
And then when you go to the monthly one for June, that page is not there.
I don't do these, so I.
Yeah, I know, I know. It's just,
The 101 down to the 99.
right,
We can get that to you.
yeah,
And
it's
never
okay,
ask
we
that.
can take care of it next month and see it, it's just, it wasn't complete for me. Can I ask you on the May numbers for motor vehicle? Are most of these, occurring on Main Street? Where, there's verbal warnings, written warnings? I was just curious as to where in town most of them might be cited, or is it
So I'm pretty
just-
sure I can get that for you. I don't have, you know, the facts were all 236 written warnings were in my mind.
Well,
I know,
It's more the idea that I was curious to know if there was one area of town
Right.
that was concentrated on it first.
yeah, I think we can generate like a heat map of where all the stops were. I do know at the last meeting, we talked about the crosswalks and
Yeah.
shared some information. So I know I did encourage the Main Street enforcement, especially towards the end of the school year, there's more kids that were biking and things. So
But
I would
even
hope. that we-
throughout the school year, like even
Right.
like summer, they're out and about, like
Yeah.
the Main Street Fair, I mean. Encourage, I know encouraging, I think is like a good word, but I'd rather have you like more like. This is where you are going to be, like this is,
I'm not sure the emails if you want, but I can
Okay.
dictate like, you know, we need to do, you know, we've
Okay.
had these complaints,
Like,
we need
this
to do
is-
this.
yeah.
Obviously, you know, the numbers jump from, you know, March, April, 147,
Yeah,
137,
pretty high.
236, so, you know, I think they
Right.
listened and they certainly were
okay.
responsive.
Because when I did talk to a patrolman a while ago and a newer one, I won't say a name, we don't need to do that. But he was saying that, you know, they have their spots where they like to go and they like to sit. I want them to have spots all over. I don't want them to have a spot.
And they
want
do,
them to-
yeah, yeah. mean,
I know,
everybody-
and I hear that, but,
And if you remember, at the last meeting, we talked about how we mixed up things as well,
Yes,
so we're not
yeah.
keeping people in the same area because they do.
Okay. okay, thank you.
There are just some areas you can
Yeah.
run radar, some areas you can't. So that gets a little tricky as well, you know?
Yeah.
As an example, we, you know, say, hey, let's get speeders on Main Street. There's only one or two places on Main Street you can
Right.
watch speeders, you know?
Right, it's the same with, you know.
Correct, yeah.
Lights, yeah.
And at the worst intersection in town, it's very hard to block somebody in.
Exactly,
Yes.
yeah. And, you know, I've had guys who actually had asked, you know, can I stand on the median and, you know,
Just-
run radar and then call it in down the road and, you know, I don't know if we're at that level of needing to, you know, to do
But we
that.
might be at that level, and I know you don't think it, but. Literally, Dylan came home the other day and he's like, somebody swerved around and he's like, it was a stop. He pressed the button and everything, he was allowed to cross, he walked his bike across and there was this.
People know it, yeah. Unfortunately, we see it all the time, yeah. Being at the right
Yeah,
place at the
it's
right time.
unfortunate, but like, what? Like, that's what's really,
But anyway,
All right, well, thank you.
okay,
Very much. It is almost 7:00.
Yeah.
And we are going to call into, Commissioner, Shippey so that she can join us for the, item 8, on the amendment of the commission bylaws. So why don't we?
Wait,
Mark,
no.
you wanna try her?
are we not, but we still have to do the proposal.
We'll come back
Back,
to those.
okay, sorry,
Yeah.
sorry.
Hey, sorry to bother you on your busy night tonight, and congratulations on becoming president.
Is this?
Okay, okay, hey, congratulations on becoming president today. I hope your event's going well.
Can she join us on Zoom?
No, she can't. That's why I got her on the phone.
Okay,
So we have to state that she's on speaker.
all right. Let the record reflect that, Commissioner Shippey has joined us on speakerphone. As we as we address item 8, taking it out of order to accommodate Commissioner Shippey's schedule. Discussion and possible action to amend commission bylaws. This bylaw on citizen complaints was moved forward at our May meeting to be adopted this evening. So I invite a motion to adopt the citizen complaint bylaw.
I make that motion to adopt.
Second,
Any discussion for this evening? All in favor signify, oh, let's do a roll call because we have someone not here. I'll start. Commissioner Kaya.
Yep, yes.
And also,
I'll,
Do you want to discuss?
no, I don't have the votes anyway, but I vote nay.
I'm sorry?
I vote nay.
Yeah, A.
Nay, nay.
Yes. Thank you.
Chair votes yes.
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 And
Nay.
should be
Yes, I vote yes.
6-1.
Okay, go have a good night. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
Bye.
Thank you.
Okay, if there,
Yeah.
was there anything else in the executive report?
No, there was not.
Thank you. Item 6, this was requested by a commissioner who subsequently suggested that we skip it over it tonight and not address it. That would take us to item 7, legal traffic authority proposal to relocate a stop sign.
Yes, so I was contacted by Chris Costa, you all have a little flyer in front of you, so Chris Costa zoning, she actually lives in the area. The residents at 55C Lane, extended their own driveway, without an encroachment permit, from the town, as you can see by the picture, stop sign lands right in the middle of their driveway. And it's actually a stop sign that's more of a,
Traffic calming.
yeah, traffic calming, that's exactly what I was looking for. It's not truly aligned in the intersection. They're obviously gonna run over it with their car accidentally. Their friends are gonna park on their driveway rightfully and block the stop sign. When I met with Chris Costa, we were also with Greg Del Rio, who's the town traffic engineer. So we went to the intersection, and about 50 feet down or 100 feet down, you can see the proposed location, which is actually right at the roadway that's trying to stop.
Are those people okay with that?
They
They
are
don't
okay
have to
with it,
be,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. They don't have to be, but they are okay with it. If you look at the upper right-hand picture, there is what is called New Britain Avenue, which is a one-way that comes from the left to the right. So very little traffic on that. They have a stop sign, so it's essentially a four-way offset stop sign. So they were all in agreement that moving the stop sign down to the corner would suffice.
Makes sense.
And it's traffic calming, so.
It does make sense.
Yeah.
Do you think that we could say no until like October to give them?
Well, we're not removing it. right? So we're just moving that.
Just because they didn't do the encroachment. Oh, yeah.
No.
No, we're not being vindictive, okay.
No, we're not.
But-
And the public works will be addressed.
And public works will do that. And basically what they had actually moved it themselves during the building and driveway. We made them put it back. And then
See?
said, well, it's, it should be moved, but we have to just do it the right way. So.
Thank
And then,
you. So is this just to notify us
Yeah,
that this is happening? We
correct,
don't
yeah.
need to vote on this?
correct.
I appreciate this. This actually really satisfies a lot of things. for me.
Yeah, there's been
Chuck,
quite a few requests for like, road race permits and things like that. I don't think I need to address those with you all. Somebody did request a crosswalk on Elm Street coming off the lanes where the new condos are, the apartment buildings are. So I'm gonna get more with this traffic engineer and see what that would look like.
Yeah, that would be
I don't know if that's the proper place for a crosswalk, but at some point it may.
Just like,
there's no, it'd be a crosswalk to nowhere, there's no sidewalk going down into the shopping center, so, we're gonna make sure we look at that.
There are none, you're right. No, but just like updates on this, I think that would, for me personally, that would help a lot, because just, there are things that I. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay. Item 9, comments from the public. Yeah, anyone in the virtual audience wishing to raise their hand and comment? No? All right. Item 10, I invite a motion to enter into executive session to discuss a personnel matter, inviting Acting Chief Walsh to join us.
So
Second, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
based on the discussion that we had in executive session, I invite a motion to approve an employee's request dated June 8, 2025
18.
for an unpaid leave of absence up to January 1, 2026.
But it was dated June 18th.
I think Jen has it. Jen has it.
Thank you. I
No,
didn't hear.
yes, no. So moved.
Second,
I'll second.
right? Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Unanimous.
Thank you.
Okay. Comments from the chief of police.
I just want to focus on Celebrate Saybrook, obviously, just being yesterday from, dispatcher staff to custodian Pat Hanley, to all the patrol officers, Board of Ed staff, public works staff, Chief Spear, who organized this whole monstrosity, which is an unbelievable amount of work. It went off without a hitch, as far as I could tell. Obviously, it was a hot day. We didn't have a call for service throughout the 6-hour event with anybody missing, anybody injured, anything like that. So I'm glad it was a successful day. A definite shout out though to Pat Hanley and Detective Sergeant Williams. They worked tirelessly from Wednesday right through, 9 o'clock last night, setting up, breaking down and getting things organized, moving things from storage buildings to the PD building signs. They really stepped up and did a lot of work for this. So thanks to them and thanks to all the patrol staff who worked endless hours yesterday as well.
It is always good to see Old Saybrook presenting its best face, and that was done.
It was that.
Thank you.
Okay. Any comments from commissioners?
I just want to echo that sentiment. It was astonishing to see the numbers of PD out there and their friendly dispositions in spite of the heat and the crowds and being on for work. It was a great job.
And I think we should also note that our recording clerk was pressed into
No.
service.
That's right. You're right, I did leave out that.
I just want to thank you guys for the great job you did. They were talking to the public all day long when I was there. Just a great job you guys did, and just thank you for all your hard work and time you put into this.
So I mean, again, it's just not just us, right? So public works was there, those guys were, doing what they do.
Oh, everybody.
The fire department, everybody was doing a nice job there.
It was great.
Yeah.
I invite a motion.
No, wait, no, one more. So the only thing I have to say is, yes, I echo, I'm not gonna repeat everything that was said, but, I recently found out, and I think that we're gonna find out more things that the chief in Old Saybrook, is responsible for. Like, I didn't realize that you were on the youth and family board. I didn't realize that you worked closely with the estuary. Maybe this is a conversation that we should have, that we can start and then bring it to, like, as in, just
Yeah.
updating, like, we got the bilingual youth and family, or they have candidates out.
Correct. Your
Okay.
family's fine.
Yes, that was something that we all moved forward, remember that, the bilingual,
Social worker?
yeah, social worker. Yeah, so that's being moved forward, but I didn't realize that, like, the chief of police stood on that commission, no idea. And so I think that this is gonna be a learning period for all of us to figure out what,
Sure.
let's all learn, all learn together, so yes, I'm excited.
Right.
That's all.
Okay.
I have a question.
Are we ready to?
I have a
Jen.
question. So I just have a carryover, a few from last month. So Mr. Gardner is leaving at the end of July. Do we have a replacement for him?
So we have
or
a second
consultant?
meeting, with Next Gen, this week. So we're
Okay.
hoping they sat down with us, for quite some time earlier in the month. Their owner was out of the country for a little while, so it's still in the works, but
Oh, good,
we're actively pursuing, some of the vendor still.
okay.
I know there's some talks of extending him, another month.
Oh,
and-
that's nice.
Yeah, and Sergeant Gardner's, made it very clear he's not gonna leave me in the lurch, I think is what he's.
Okay,
So,
who is actively pursuing?
the town. So the talk to is involved, I'm involved. Really, Mike Gardner's the one who built it and knows the system, so he's probably the main.
Of course,
person that
no, of course.
Can he answer the question, you know,
So
this
it's really
person, this
just
person
great.
fits, yeah.
Okay.
Cause I'll be honest, I sat an hour and a half meeting and understood about 5 words.
Yeah.
It's all networking and
language
databases, it's a
of
language that you
itself.
don't understand.
Yes.
Yeah, so definitely needs to be somebody who can come in and
Got
know
it.
which button to push, cause I'm not gonna push anything.
We're just like not pushing.
The other thing was the schedule and the payroll. How's that coming along?
So we're still looking at it, so we have a scheduling software that we're gonna do a demo month on internally. The payroll side of it is much more difficult to get a grasp of and make work. You know, an example, I don't know if you saw the road construction that's going out, from Schoolhouse Road out to Center Road, they replaced the water main. And, that's part of the sidewalk job, and they wanted to do that during the day, and we always said in June,
Where's
July, we cannot be working on Route 1 at that end of town. So B&L said, okay, we'll do it overnights. So overnights is 7 PM to 7 AM. So Monday starts at 7 PM on Sunday, so officers are working overtime for this private duty job. They get paid a different rate from 7 PM to midnight, from midnight to 3 is a different rate, and then from 3 to 7 AM is a combination of those first 2 rates at time and a half.
So
So I don't
there's
know.
shift differential.
Just basically,
Okay.
yeah, or, you know, cause it's a weekend, it's different,
Right.
and then over it out. I don't know how they ever build that into a computer system, or how we could ever record that in a computer system.
But this is
So
all
we,
contractual.
it's all contractual,
So,
correct?
but other towns must do it, so.
They
Yeah.
don't, but we have the road contract, which is
Well, other
not.
towns do as well, so we've talked to them, and a couple are like, you know, it's up to the officer to go in and highlight things at a certain rate, so it's not an easy solution, basically, what I'm saying, it's something we're still actively pursuing. We've had conversations with Amy Jensen and Town Hall, because we would like it as well. You know, the officers are clamoring for a schedule on their phone.
I just feel like it's getting very, slow moving train.
Yeah, Mr. Fortuna had actually given me the option to let the next chief of police bring it on board, but I said, I actually said, no, we wanna do it, like,
Yeah.
my officers want it, so we're pursuing it,
Okay,
and still looking at it.
all right. Yeah, because I'm thinking about 21st century for them,
Sure,
you know?
yeah, absolutely.
Jackie, you think
It's
everything's
just,
moving?
I don't. And the bikes, any thoughts? on
Yep, Patrolman
bikes?
Capo and Gavinelli are working on getting some time together to get out and do it, you know, now, 4th of July is kind of when the real summer starts, if you will, yeah, so it's,
Okay,
although the weather this weekend was certainly summer weather, it's,
Yeah.
we're just really rolling into it now, that school,
15 weekends of rain.
yeah, now that school year's over, we're.
This weekend, every officer I can imagine, I would think, would prefer to have been in an air-conditioned car.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you for that. I appreciate
sure.
that. update.
Actually, that brings up something. So when I was at the Main Street, I was there all day. And all the cars were left on and there were no, and I know that Spiro said something about like they have to be left on, but there was no people in the cars.
So depending if they have to have their emergency lights activated or not.
No, not this one.
Not that one, so.
Not the one I'm-
I know I turned a couple off, I know,
Okay.
they're, you know, blocking driveways, so they didn't.
This one was sitting in the St. John's parking lot, like as if you were gonna stroll out.
So it's, you know, it's Sky was in the back of that car, so.
Oh, then yes, of course, anything for her, yeah. Okay, thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
Okay. Well, at this point then, I invite a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
No, you make,
So moved. So-
I'll second.
all in favor?
I.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.